Wow. All right, let's do this. No green room. It's go. It's go room. All right.
Let's do it.
Hey, hello. It is the Go Birds podcast. Elliot Short Parks, James Seltzer with you. And whew, buddy, geez
Yeah.
Louise.
What
I
an
mean, what
ending.
a yeah, and for a 10-7 game that was 0-0 for the first half, the first 0-0 half on Monday Night Football since 2009.
Mm.
And and it ended up being a pretty, other than the excruciating part of it, pretty entertaining game at the end of the day. Like, it did feel like two teams slugging it out, and teams there was some dumb stuff and all that, but it was ugly. The offense wasn't great, other than some plays that need to be made at the end and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it felt like kind of the games we watched growing up, Elliot. Cold weather, defensive football, a
Lambeau
low
Field.
scoring game. Yeah, it felt like, dare I say it, Elliot, it felt like old school football. 7-2, baby. How you doing?
So, I think how people view this, like, we all get different timelines, we all get different texts. So maybe you're seeing something different than I'm seeing. My initial reaction is I think people are being a little too negative about this win. I thought
I
that
am
was
too. Yeah.
I thought that was a quality win. Like,
Yeah.
we will certainly get into the offense on this, but I will say the main takeaway from me from that is twofold. One, a tough win, like definitely a very tough win. Like, it was cold out there, primetime spot, tough opponent. Like, I don't think the Packers are that good, but they certainly aren't like,
Yeah, they're not
there's some trash
the
team. Yeah.
Raiders or
I was
whatever.
going to
Yeah.
say the Panthers, but I don't know if I should say
I
that at
was going
Lambeau
to, but
Field.
they beat the Packers last week. So I was like, yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, but so that was my first takeaway is I think when you look at a game, like, they were the tougher team tonight. They made fewer mistakes tonight. They made more plays tonight. And the Packers are supposed to be one of the top whatever teams in the NFC, 5 teams. And they went into their place on prime time and they outplayed them. Now, it was not a game that had a lot of positive plays on either side, and it was a low scoring game, but they still outplayed the Packers, right? If they won this game 33-30, I think people would feel differently about it, but ultimately it would have been a similar thing. They made more plays than the Packers did by 3 points, right? Now, the other main takeaway I have from this is, and this is truly my biggest takeaway, I think the Eagles' defensive line is really good, and that is
Jalen Phillips, man.
Jalen Phillips was awesome. Moro Jomo was awesome. I thought Jalix Hunt was awesome.
Yep,
Jalen
I thought
Carter
everyone
made
was
plays.
awesome. It was
I
awesome.
mean, they all made plays. Brandon Graham had the one where he got in the
And
backfield.
when they are making plays and then you add it, like before, it felt like Vic was, and he was doing a great job with it, blitzing like just to get pressure, and he was
Yes.
doing
Yep.
it. Now the blitzes feel like in addition to the pressure, and it's like all of a sudden Nakobe's flying in there, and then whoever and this and that, and it's like it was the stunts, all that stuff. I mean, they were a beast tonight.
I mean, they look like legit. So to
Legit.
me,
I mean,
and
that was
then
the best Eagles D
Quinn
line since the Super Bowl,
Quinn
obviously.
Quinyon made some big plays. I thought Zach Bond made some big plays. Nakobe was awesome. Like, I thought the defense really, really showed up, and they had to because the offense was really bad. But
Yeah.
but before we get to the offense, and I'm sure that's what we'll spend the majority of our time talking about. But like, I do
I
think
think
it's
we should lead with
important.
the defense,
Yeah,
dude. No
like
doubt. No
Jalen
doubt. Like, they
Phillips.
deserve it. Because look, at the end of the day, and we'll do what we do with the offense, but the Packers defense was freaking awesome too, man. Like,
Yes, yeah.
they flying around. Like, Parsons was great. Gary was great. That dude, Evan Williams, like, other than Devontae taking the ball away from him, felt like he was in on every single play on the
Yep.
night. Like, so you know what? It was a 10-7 game. It wasn't like the Eagles lost 30-10. Like, offense was hard to come by in this game, and that's because it was cold as hell, and there were two freaking great defenses playing great football, and the Eagles' defense was just a little bit better.
Yeah, and the Eagles' offense was a little bit better too. Just to put it
You're
out
right.
there,
The Eagles' offense mattered more. You're right.
The Eagles' offense was
Jordan
better
Love
than the
missed-
Packers' offense tonight. Just putting that out there. Now they have more talent. They should be better. Like, all those things are true. But the Eagles' offense was better tonight, and the Eagles' defense was better tonight, and that's why they won the game. So just to put that out there. But Jalen Phillips. So That's exactly why you gave up a pick for Jalen Phillips. I mean, he was unbelievable. The forced fumble at the end, forcing the big play at the beginning where he forces Jordan Love out of the pocket and Jalen Hunt gets him for a deep sack. Like I mean,
He
Tucker has it up
recovered
there.
the other fumble.
He recovered the other fumble, 6 tackles. Like he was maybe the best defensive player on the field tonight
I
for
think he
either
was the
side.
best football player on the
He
field.
might have been the best player overall. And so, in terms of making an impact, you couldn't have asked for a better first game from Jalen Phillips. And I just can't stress enough how differently I feel about this defensive line than I did a few weeks ago, even 2 games ago. Go down the list. Jalen Phillips is legit. Nolan Smith was awesome. Jalen Carter is legit. Moro Jumbo is awesome. There's 4 right there where when you have a big time pressure down late in the game, in this game, another game, playoff game, you can put 4 legit pass rushers out there. Jalen Hunt, a legit pass rusher. I'll have to rewatch the tape. Jordan Davis
Jordan
seemed like
Davis,
he has a good
a
game.
really good football player, and he'll get in
Right.
there. But like, just
So
another guy to have there. I mean, that's 6 guys. All of a sudden, 6 guys on the defensive line that we trust, and
that you feel awesome about.
That's
Yeah.
not even talking about BG playing himself into shape and being really ready, and who knows what you get from other guys. Like that's a time change from us talking about like Patrick Jackson, the edge guys.
Well, and yeah, I know. I think I saw Drew from Westchester tweet it, but finally Zadarius Smith isn't the leading edge in tackles on the team. But that to me is the biggest big picture takeaway because the offense was obviously not good, but I think there was reasons for the offense not being good that are not going to be the case each week. For me, this defensive line will travel. I mean, defense travels to do it tonight in Green Bay. Like I think they have a defensive line the rest of the season that you can feel really good about. There was a moment where I was up in the press box and looking down the field and I'm thinking, this is a defensive line. How he feels can like go win a Super Bowl. Like he pulled the triggers he needed to pull. He got Jalen Phillips. He convinced Brandon Graham to come out of retirement. Brandon wasn't awesome tonight. You can definitely tell it was his first game back, but he had that big play where he got in the backfield. He
Yeah.
slowed the runner down. And then obviously getting Nolan back. Jalix has improved week after week. So their defensive line looks really legit. I also thought Quinion was really good
Yeah,
tonight.
that's what I
Like
was gonna get.
he has a really good ability to play like a veteran defensive back and get away with some stuff. Like there was
He's
I
right
forget.
on the line, Elliot. He's right on even with the way he
Yes.
smack talks, and like I feel like he stays on the other team's sideline smack talking like right up until the line when he's gonna get a flag, and then
Yes.
he's so good at it.
Well, there was a play over the middle where he clearly, in my opinion, has
Yeah,
his
it was
hand
like
on.
grabbing a
Yeah,
little bit.
he's
Yeah,
slowing, but it's like a veteran. I mean, that's what they do. Like you're smart to try that because they're not going to call it.
Troy was like no call there. That's a good call.
Yeah, so he excellent at that. He had an excellent breakup on a deep pass late. I thought Makuba and Blankenship, obviously a huge breakup late on the Christian Watson play. So they were all.
Nakobe, you mentioned him before,
And
but
then Nakobe.
it felt like he was all over the field, both in the run game, obviously. But we talked so much about is he good enough in pass protection? He had a couple really, obviously the blitz him, but a couple really big plays. That one tackle in the open field was massive.
Well, it's interesting, and maybe this will be like a thing we do in the middle of the week, but it certainly seems like Nakobe is the starting linebacker now. Sorry, trying to fix my mic. I'm getting bad mic feedback from Tucker.
Yeah,
but
it's a little scratchy.
okay, so it might be the Wi-Fi, to be honest. But no, I thought Nakobe was awesome. Also, let's give props to Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson with a huge pass breakup late. Like, not a lot of people wanted him starting the game. I thought maybe starting Jair Alexander would be a good idea. He didn't even travel. Keely Ringo didn't get the start. Adoree with a really big pass breakup late. So I thought Adoree was super good. So the defense overall just showed up. Like, full stop. The defense was the reason they won that game, obviously. Credit to Vic Fangio, credit to the defense. And I think it's worth noting that we have talked about last year and how after the bye week, the running game kind of took off, and that's when this team took off. And that is true. But it's also when the defense got way better. And it's when the defense became, I don't want to say like the heart of the team because there was many hearts of the team last year, but that was a defense.
It was the best defense in the league.
It was the best defense in the league. It was the best defense we've seen on the Eagles in a long time. And that's what that defense looked like tonight. Again, the Packers are short on players. I do not think it will be this easy against the Lions. The offense will have to be better against the Lions. But that looked like the defense from last year. The defensive pressure, Quinion being awesome. Cooper DeJean had a play in the open field where he brought somebody down. So just overall, no question, the defense was really good. And again, I'll credit the team's toughness. Like I'm aware that normally, me included, people feel as good as the offense is. That's the emotion of the city. When the offense plays well, people feel good. When Jalen plays well, people feel good. And we'll talk about them because they were not good. But I do think they deserve some toughness coming out of the bye week. Like, yes, they now 5-0 after the bye week. And I get that the bye week, you wanted to see them come out and look better. And again, we'll get to that with the offense. But I also think it's worth mentioning that, like, they haven't played in 2 weeks. They came out sloppy. They were sloppy in the first half. They had a lot of mistakes, and they still found a way to win the game. So, like, they're obviously better than the Packers. They beat the Packers. They showed mental toughness. Like, I thought there were a lot more positives in this game from a mental toughness standpoint, from just like a 2025 Eagles standpoint, from a defensive standpoint. Like, I thought there were lots of positives there.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you for the most part. I think that ultimately you go into Lambeau and you get a win. I think that again, there are games that each game kind of has an identity, and this wasn't a game for offense. Again, it wasn't like the Packers where your mic is you're having some issues. Your mic is scratching it up there, Elliot, right
Yeah,
now.
trying.
Yeah, it wasn't like the Packers were, able to move the ball much either. Obviously, there were missed plays on both sides. The Calcaterra throw early, and Jordan Love had some opportunities that were missed. But ultimately, it wasn't like there were a ton of plays left on the field. The defenses were just dominant, and they were flying around. Like if you watch the games, you would think that all the high draft picks in the entire game, all the best athletes in the game were playing on the defensive side of the
Yeah.
football. Both defenses just looked way faster than the offenses in both phases of the game, running and in the passing game. And to your point, you mentioned everyone. Jalen Phillips gets an extra, star. I think the star of the game, and Quinn, I thought was amazing. And the Jalix Hunt thing. I mean, he's developing still. He was playing safety at Cornell a few years ago, and I think he had such a good Super Bowl. Maybe and was a starter to start the year that people expected so much from him. But
I mean,
I
he's
think the last two games have
yeah.
been the best of his career, arguably.
I mean, statistically, he's been one of the better edges in the NFL this year. He certainly has been a top 30 edge. I think you could argue he's probably been a top 25, top 20-ish edge after this. So
And now
definitely
he's their
Phillips.
third edge. I
Yes.
mean it's awesome.
All
All
right, let's
right,
get to the offense here.
yeah, flip it over the offensive side of the ball. And again, I think on the whole, look, Lane Johnson, what a warrior. The fact that he came back in that game, the fact that he was back on the sideline, it
Very
definitely looked
weird he came back into the game, right? Like,
yeah. Well, I think they wanted to run that jumbo package and they didn't think Matt Pryor was getting it done. And Lane was like, I can't play. And my guess is whatever the injury is, clearly is a pain tolerance thing and not a you could make it worse things. I don't think
hopefully it's not a you wake up tomorrow thing.
Yeah, but
right.
look, they put him back in and we'll see what happens. But ultimately, we know things can look worse on the field than they actually are. And it seems like that was one of those. But they were just disjointed the entire game from that perspective. Obviously not able to run the ball other than a couple plays that Saquon broke away. And I think it was hard for the quarterbacks with the cold, not to make excuses. I think Jalen wasn't very good tonight. I don't think Jordan Love was very good tonight. There was just pressure all over the place in both sides. Jalen had more time than Love, I thought. But
for sure,
look,
for sure.
I think you give him credit for the dagger play at the end. I think Devontae gets more credit for it. He pulled it out, but it wasn't as bad a throw as I thought at first. It was a good enough throw, and the big third down throw to Devontae was huge. Ultimately, they made more plays on offense than the Packers did. To your point, but I come out of this game feeling very much like it was just with the cold and the way it was just not a night for offense. And I'm not like saying it was a fine, yay, go offense. I'm just like, I don't like take too many. I'm not looking at it as like, wow, what a problem.
Yeah, so I guess where I fall on the offense is first, let's give Devontae and Saquon credit. Like they made two plays that no one on the Packers made. Obviously the huge catch by Devontae for the touchdown, but on that same drive, the play by Saquon to make that defender miss on 3rd and 7 to get us fresh set of downs, and then obviously get way more and get them into Packers territory. Like that's exactly how the Eagles are going to win in the playoffs. The playoffs, I was gonna say they're not going to be a big every game, but last year, they kind of were. Regardless, like in the playoffs, it's just going to come down to their special players making special plays. And Saquon made a special play. Devontae made a special play. And for what it's worth, Jalen made some special plays in this game too. He made some big third down plays. Now, they really didn't result in many points because they didn't score, obviously, any points in the first quarter. But he did step up and make some big plays on third down. He had a big third down conversion on that final drive. Now they end up not getting points in punting, but still like a big third down conversion. So I thought on offense, it's going to be like the classic like coaching versus Jalen thing, which is what we did the first month of the season. I mean, ultimately, like Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo deserve blame. The offense was bad, and that is they are the coaches, and it is their job to make the offense look better. Like I thought they would come out of the bye week and have all types of new wrinkles, have all types of new things, and it looked exactly the same. Like if their big plan was to get Will Shipley more involved, I'm not loving that as their big bye week
Mhm.
adjustment. That being said, like Jalen fumbles the ball in the first quarter, or the first quarter, first half, whatever it
Yeah.
was. He misses Calcaterra on an open play
Mhm.
where you're inside the 10. Brett Toth had a holding call on a big Saquon run that was getting them into Packers territory. I'll have to rewatch it, but it seems like Jalen missed AJ on an open play that could have got him closer. So like if they don't do those things and Jalen fumbling it is uncharacteristic.
Yeah,
Jalen
that felt like it almost felt like there had to be a
well, it was
mistake on my
it was it
TV.
was also like a great defensive play for what it's
Yeah, it
worth.
was.
Like, I mean,
Like, again, great
sometimes
defense tonight.
I
Yeah.
hate to use this expression, but like they get paid too, and like that
Mhm.
was just an outstanding play. It was just an outstanding play by him. The missed throw to Calcaterra, I think, is uncharacteristic for Jalen.
Yeah, I
Sometimes,
agree.
sometimes he misses guys in the way that he doesn't throw it to him, but when he
Look, he was
throws it,
just
he
off
generally
tonight.
he did
I
not have a
think
good game. Did not have a good
Jalen
game.
doesn't super love it when it's super duper duper cold. He plays through
I
it and he's
agree.
good.
I agree.
But I
Yeah,
don't think his throwing game is elite in that weather. I mean,
agreed.
yeah. So
I agree.
like I think the bigger thing to talk about is the coaching because I think like especially if they had lost the game. I mean,
I mean, the
look,
3 points end up being huge. Like if you want to talk
the
about the
3 point,
field
no,
goal
yeah, the
decision,
field
like
goal decision, but the cowards draw multiple times. Now towards the end, they threw it a little bit on third down and made some decisions there, but multiple cowards draw situations where they're just like, well, it's 3rd and 11. Guess we shouldn't do anything but hand it off. And obviously, the end of the half, had 3 timeouts. You could have gone for the field goal. I didn't hate that nearly as much as, I mean, the end of game stuff that was just weird. Like the ball's at the 35. I think it's the right decision not to kick the field goal there. Like I
it's
wouldn't have
cold.
gone
Yeah,
told all that. Like you're obviously going for it or punting. Punting from there is a weird
I
spot. Like
agree.
I
I
think
just would have thrown it shorter, but
people were furious about it. Like people on Twitter, at least to my it seemed like the
well, and my
overwhelming
text too. Yeah,
and text, like, what are you doing? Like, so should they have punted? Like, you could argue. I mean, it's too bad they don't have Randall. That would have been a classic, like, quick kick
yeah.
situation, like the shotgun snap and just kind of pooch it over the defense. I don't know what you do there. Like, I wasn't as mad as everyone else in the moment. If they get the 4th down, the game's over. But I also get it. Like, I think the safe move's probably to punt it with no Packers having no timeouts left. You just come out and you take the 5 yards, you go back to the 40, and you just kind of pooch it as low and as little as you can. Even if you put it back to the 20 instead of the 35, it's that much harder for them to get in the field goal range. And you take a little time off the clock with the punt itself. So, like, I think the move's probably to punt it there as I think about it, but people were like, this is the dumbest thing they've ever done, it seemed like.
All right. So I have a couple thoughts on that. First, like interesting juxtaposition, but on how the public has reacted with like have to be more aggressive, have to be more aggressive, and then he's aggressive on that play, and it's like whoa, 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 whoa.
No,
Right? So,
yeah.
so like that. All right. But the other thing I'll say is before we talked about these decisions, we both said Jalen was not having a good night tonight. Right? He had the
Yeah.
fumble, he was inaccurate, and I think that plays into
That's
their
probably the
decision
reason you
making.
should punt
Right?
it,
Like so.
honestly, in that
The
situation.
big sequence I'm thinking of is I think it's like 3rd and 12, and they call the coward's draw that people call it, and then they kick the field goal to go up 3-0, right? And
By the
everyone's
way,
like,
real quick, this is the greatest name for anything
I
ever.
know, I
It's
know.
so
They
great.
really
Whoever came up with Howard's Draw deserves all the money.
they
Like,
should
it's so
also
great.
just call it that in the playbook. But
I
like
agree. Yeah, and on the broadcast.
so I just think at his core, Nick Sirianni is a conservative coach. I think he tries to be aggressive. I think he does a good job being aggressive at
He's an
times.
old
I think
school coach.
I
He's
just think at
old
his core,
school.
he
He
again, like
wants to win 10-7 games. This is a Nick
yes.
Sirianni game tonight.
Yeah, like I think Nick, obviously the offense wasn't great, but Nick just leans conservative. But here's the thing, and like maybe it's because we're older now, maybe it's because it's me, but like I don't know, man. Like it's 3rd and 12. I get giving him a shot, but Jalen's not playing well. Don't risk something bad happening. Like
Run a screen pass. Do something where
is it that different than running a draw? I don't know. Like if you're gonna
yes,
a
it's very
screen
different.
pass, okay,
Screen
all
pass is
right,
very different.
that's
I
fine.
mean, how much deals used to kill it on screen passes on 3rd and
Yeah,
long
it was
back in
like
the day?
Brian Westbrook and McCoy. I don't know if that's logic to call it.
Fuck. Oh, Oh,
Oh,
sorry, Tiger.
it's all right. It's all right.
I almost taking it out. So you got Saquon Barkley. Is he not good enough to run
Well, they
screen
they give it
passes?
to him. Now the weird thing
I
is
know.
giving it to Shipley. I agree,
Just
giving
do
it
a
to
screen
Shipley is
pass.
where,
Anyway,
yeah.
whatever. I think the bigger complaint, I really do think, as much as I wasn't as mad as everyone else, like they should have punted at the end there. Take the 5 yards and punt and the
See, but
delay
here's my
game.
thing on that though. Like, if AJ catches it, like everyone's
I
being like,
know,
right,
but
and
still, it's
Devonta, and hold, just really quick, really quick, really
if
quick.
you're gonna be conservative though, the whole game, like be conservative there. The
So
most important time to be conservative.
Devontae and AJ have both made big plays down the field late in games when they throw it
But I
deep.
mean, think about it this
AJ
way:
did it.
there was like what 22 seconds, 23 seconds, whatever it was, like 24. Like they get the ball with like 18, 17 seconds at worst at their 20, maybe 16 seconds, maybe 15
Oh, you're
seconds.
saying run a play that just kills 4 or 5
No, I'm
seconds.
saying punt it. I'm saying punt it.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
I'm saying you run a punt that kills maybe 7 seconds, 8 seconds, who knows, off the clock, and you just pooch punt it really short, and they get the ball on their own 10 to 20, somewhere in that range, probably with like 13 seconds on the clock and no timeouts. That's a much better situation than them getting with at the 35 with 20 seconds left.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, again, like we want them to be aggressive, and there he is. Now, maybe that wasn't the spot to do it.
Maybe there was a little more time than that. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was
I think
31.
they
And
got
I
it
was
with
thinking
like 25 seconds or
yeah,
something like
25.
that.
Either way, there would be less time on the clock.
Yeah.
I think
So
that's what they probably should have done. I'm just not as mad as everyone else, but that's what they should have done.
yeah, I mostly agree with that. Like, I'll have to take more time to process the end of the game. Obviously, this is like the instant reaction pod. I just think like throwing it to AJ deep,
That's
I
why
don't
they
love
pay
it.
big bucks, Elliot. Oh
It's
wait, no,
exactly.
no,
Yeah.
no,
I just think throwing it to AJ deep. Everyone wants them to target AJ. They've had big plays down to AJ down the field. Like I don't love it, but I also don't hate it the way other people do. Like, and honestly, it wasn't a great throw. Like, it's underthrown. If he puts more in front of it, maybe
He was
AJ can make the
covered
play.
too.
He was covered for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know. Overall, I just think like a quality win. They're 7-2. They're close to
I
home field.
agree.
Like
And there's a
they
big one coming
I
up
know
Sunday.
it.
Look,
I know
people
it's going
still
to be
need
a
to take
blame
one and
Patullo
one.
week. People are going to blame Patullo all week. I get it. But like, I don't know, man. Like, if you leave that game more frustrated than happy, like, I don't know what to tell you.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. They're 7-2, man.
Primetime win over the
Yeah.
Packers.
Dude,
Like,
think about it this way. I know they've all been close, but they have wins over the Rams, the Chiefs, the Packers,
yeah, the
the
Bucks.
Bucks. I mean,
We talked about how tough this schedule is. Like,
legit, dude. I mean,
yeah.
find me a team in the league that has a better 4 wins than them. I bet you can't.
No,
So,
I agree. I mean,
all
the
right.
Vikings, like the Vikings aren't a scrub team.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
yeah.
totally. All right, let's let you get down to the locker room because who knows if AJ will talk or can talk. Everyone start perusing the Twitter now.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope not. A win's a win. It's cold.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
I don't know. All right. Either way, we'll be back later in the week to talk about it. And check out the Daily Pod tomorrow and get home safe, Elliot. 7-2, baby. I agree. Big win. They went into Lambeau, come home, outscore the Lions 50-40, and no one will be upset.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you guys later in the week.